have one of these credit cards, and just because of convenience, I started spending 90% of my private expenses with this card. And all of a sudden, like exactly like you said, they announced an airdrop and I didn't expect anything. And I was like, whoa, like I got a few $1,000s for nothing.
Oh yeah, I've taken so much profit. I mean, most of these people are like scared to lose their H-1B visas and are sitting on like mid 5-figure stacks.
The pump airdrop's still going to happen, that it's going to be like monstrous. And I think that like streamers are going to get it. I think that streamers and then people trading on Pump Swap and running volume through there are going to get the airdrops.
I remain bullish throughout the rest of Q3 and the beginning of Q4. Also historically, we saw the bigger spikes in October, November. This is where most of the action happened.
I think it's clear that when Base starts talking about a token, you can assume that there has been months, if not years, of work going into the process already, right? Like they don't just casually start about token publicly as they think about it.
Hyperliquid Season 2 airdrop, MetaMask airdrop, Ravi airdrop, and like Base airdrop. Like if all of that stuff happens within a couple of weeks and that reignites the entire retail hype around crypto, I think then you should get very cautious. GM, and welcome to episode 37, already the 9th edition of the Odyssey Roundtable livestream. Today we have a special guest, Danny. Do you want to give a brief intro to yourself? How do you know each one of us, and how did you end up here?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if I have time for the whole backstory of my life, but I'm currently working at the DeFi dojo, running the validator company there. Been full-time crypto and DeFi for a long time. Yuri and I have worked together a ton, and then you and I have worked together a ton, Max. We've hung out all over the world. So I think I'm here because we're friends. We also do a podcast together in the DeFi dojo every Saturday morning where we just like yap it up about the best DeFi yields or whatever else is going on. So thanks for having me.
Great having you here. So yeah, what is everybody excited about these days? What are you guys paying attention to?
I mean, Aster was all the hype, I assume. You know, have been following one of the richest people in the world taking on the most successful perp stacks in the world. And it's kind of funny in the context of knowing historically what has happened when CZ took on, I don't want to say hostile, but like hardcore competition mode against competitors. So yeah, that's what I've been following in the last couple of days.
Do you think Aster actually has a shot at competing with Hyperliquid in the mid to long term?
In the mid to long term, of course. I mean, right now it's just marketing and hype because, 95% of the token is supplied. I don't think the volume is real, but it's there. And there's not much retail user activity, in my opinion, on Aster yet. But they just launched. So how else do you want to go to market if not with a big bang? So I would say, yeah, they do have a stab.
How would you differentiate between organic and like fake volume? Because I always find that a pretty like weird distinction.
Organic volume has to match with the amount of active wallets, daily active users in relation and in proportion to dollars being exchanged, I would say. That's kind of like what I mean. I think with Aster, it's pretty clear that there's a couple institutional actors who are responsible for the majority of the volume, which is, some people call it cabal, some people call it, I don't know, like not organic volume. I think we're all talking about the same thing. It's obviously not real retail users that generate this volume.
Well, I think like one metric that I've seen, which I find somewhat sensible, is if you put volume in relation with open interest. So like if you have a ton of volume, but comparably low open interest, that just means that people are opening and closing positions disproportionately fast than on other exchanges. And there's not really an intuitive reason to do that other than to just accrue volume in order to drive up these metrics, make it appear more used when it's actually being used, and maybe to also farm the Aster airdrop a little bit. So there is an ongoing points program. So yeah, if you are a seasoned perp DEX farmer, you might want to add Aster to your mix besides like Hyperliquid Season 2 and Lighter, and I think Exponent or whatever. And like, I mean, there's like a dozen of perp dexes you can farm right now. But yeah, Yuri and Danny, have you guys tried out Aster at all?
Personally, not. You, Danny?
No, not at all. I mean, I remember Max, I messaged you and another buddy from the dojo maybe like 30 minutes after Aster launch. I think it was around 16 cents. And I was busy doing family stuff. I'm like, hey, what's this? What's going on? And then, yeah, I completely faded it. But like I was saying Saturday on the show, I mean, I haven't used Pancake Swap since, or anything on BNB chain since probably like 2020, 2019. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's been forever. So, I mean, for me, it would have taken a long time to like, just bridge over there and sit and click buttons and figure it out. But I should have done it. I think we called it early. And I think that this isn't like Trump or Melania coin or just like some random thing coming out, like everyone's fading it. But the chart looked great this morning and it looked like it was bouncing back. And I think there isn't any reason to fade like CZ and Binance and all of that. Like it's
Yeah. Like both Danny and I saw it reasonably early.
Yeah.
I think I saw it like half an hour past CZ's announcement. I didn't see it before that. I mean, there were a couple of people who were positioning before it and like anticipating it, whatever. But essentially 30 minutes passed when I saw the coin like 2x or 3x or whatever. I thought the pump was over because I still have so much PTSD from the 2021 cycle news announcements tweets. I still remember that I did my internship at Scalable Capital back then, which was like the German equivalent to Robinhood in the US. And I always had the Elon tweet notifications on to like make my dinner and lunch money from trading Doge with like $100 volume on Binance, 100x perps whenever Elon sent out a tweet. And these pumps lasted for like 10, 15 seconds. And you pretty much had to take profits immediately after that. And yeah, I am not used to the it will just continue pumping meta anymore. And I think that this is actually something that has significantly prohibited us from trading higher this cycle because everybody is so, cynical towards the industry and also towards price action. But yeah, talking of price action, so we've seen a small dump on Monday. Biggest liquidation on the long side, I think, for at least a couple of months. So yeah, what's your guys' outlook right now? Does that kind of invalidate the bullish Q3, bullish Q4 outlook? Does it scare you away? Did you buy the dip? Or how do you position yourselves?
Not really. I remain pretty optimistic because, to be honest, nothing much changed. I also saw a lot of news around the hyperliquid token. People were a little bit scared of all of the unlocks for hype, but if you zoom out a little bit, then you see that, such a correction is more than normal. Not that I value it a lot, but also the fear and greed index is also not too concerned. So yeah, nothing much changed. I mean, Bitcoin stays super strong, way above the 100,000 benchmark. Ethereum is also pretty significantly above the 4K. So yeah, I think that's like a natural correction. And I remain bullish throughout the rest of Q3 and beginning of Q4. Also, historically, we saw the bigger spikes in October, November. This is where most of the action happened and not necessarily in September. So not too concerned. Also because nothing happened on the meta level. Nothing serious happened on the stock market either, or politically. I mean, a lot of things are going on right now, but nothing that is so strong that it would affect the market, I would say.
It's quite interesting how far crypto has been lagging behind the stock markets over the last couple of weeks. Like S&P is at all-time highs, the Nasdaq is at all-time highs, gold is at all-time highs. So pretty much everything has been running up in an up-only fashion since the April tariff lows. And crypto has been lagging behind. I think I saw a stat comparing the absolute returns of like Bitcoin versus the Nasdaq and the S&P, and even some of these large stock indices or gold have been outperforming crypto on an absolute level ever since the April low. And like that is, I mean, on the one hand, you can make the thesis, well, we have a bunch of room to catch up, and that is bullish into the mid to long term, into the end of the year. On the other hand, I also find it somewhat concerning that crypto doesn't seem to catch a bit in a similar fashion than all of these other risk assets, because like crypto is supposed to be the levered beta for risk assets. So yeah.
I mean, you do have several alts like outperforming and hitting all-time high though, right? Like we just talked about, like Binance over 1,000 hitting all-time high. You know, Solana and Ethereum kind of came right up there, close to their all-time highs. Bitcoin's
Yeah, but I mean,
consolidating
that's
under
been
its all-time
more
high.
than a month ago on Solana and ETH side of things.
Well,
I mean,
sure, but
BNB is the only one that is very close to its all-time high right now.
right, I'm just saying, like, I'm not concerned at all. You know, you're seeing like the best assets sort of like pop off, get near all-time highs or create new all-time highs, then consolidate down a little bit, and then probably keep going. You know, to like what Yuri said, like September is typically like never bullish. Typically, you get into like the second week of October, and things typically start to tick up around then. You know, sort of like mid. You know, that's seasonally what's been happening. Of course, like that doesn't mean this is going to happen, but with all the tailwinds of the crypto industry and us sort of getting like DAT season, us getting regulatory clarity around everything, and the rest of the markets blowing up right as we come into easing, right as we come into more printing, I think that dips are for buying right now. Yeah.
I agree.
Just a question for Danny here for the DIT market. I just heard it on the sideline, but I've heard that capital is drying out a little bit for all of the DITs, maybe also because there's an oversupply of debts in the market. So have you heard anything about that? Like a question to all of you. I think capital drying out a little bit for debts.
I
Well,
haven't heard
I mean,
that. No. Go ahead.
like I think the first wave of the DATs is over. Like everybody who wanted to allocate into DATs, which essentially just hold the asset in a treasury fashion, has been served. So I do think that the DAT sponsors have to innovate a little bit. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff happening on the Solana front. There are much more open to actually utilizing their Sol treasuries in DeFi. And I think that could trigger a Solana revival season. I think we talked about that a few weeks ago, where that would coincide with Sol ETFs likely getting approved in October. And if you have a bunch of like $1 billion worth of Solana now suddenly getting active in DeFi, I think it could, on the DeFi side, also become a serious competitor to ETH or like the broader EVM ecosystem. Also, I think that, yeah, like if you want to continue with the DATs and if you want to continue raising capital to that extent that you've been able to do so in the summer, you need to have like an underlying profitable business model. Like I think this kind of tax arbitrage, legal arbitrage, to kind of act like a hedge fund without any underlying profitable business other than holding that asset and maybe utilizing it a little bit, it's kind of running out of steam. So I would agree on that side. Do I think that the DAT narrative is dead for good for this cycle? No, I don't.
Yeah, I agree with everyone else has said. Buying the dip as much as I can. Obviously, not enough stables as every time. But to Max's point, I want to share something real quick. And I need to fix permissions. So we're close to total crypto market cap all-time high. So I think we are catching a bid, but it's essentially, since there is a significant amount of assets growing by the day, and also since the recent meta is kind of rotation, right? Like you rotate from Pump to Aster to whatever the next big thing is. Before that, it was like Tau, BitTensor stuff. So I feel like we are catching a bid. It's just like very scattered across various assets, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, the peak in total one, so the entire crypto market cap was in mid-August. So like we have not even been able to break that for over a month. So yeah.
Is that a lot of time? That sounds like nothing to me.
Well, if you want to assess like the last leg of a bull market, then things should happen in a very fast manner.
I mean, okay, let's get to the juicy part. I know this is going to end very bad.
Yeah, I mean, you've been our like early cycle profit in this round. You've claimed that
this is for sure not going to age well, but I'm still going to do it. If you look at like the 2017 cycle, and then look at like the 2021 DeFi cycle, so to get to the more or less same level, I just want to draw an analogy here. I would say if you look at the current chart, we're probably somewhere around this leg, in my opinion. So let me draw a few lines which are not going to make a lot of sense. But I would say, we're probably somewhere around here. So I do expect like quite a significant, at least 2x in total crypto market cap from here. Just reasoning by analogy from previous cycles. I know a lot of people are saying the 4-year cycle meta is over and whatnot. I don't know about that. But I feel like, yeah, like buying the dip seems reasonable here. Like a top will not feel like this. A top will not feel like people losing their life savings, right? A top will feel like getting calls from grandparents and cousins and friends who have nothing to do with crypto, and random magazines posting about it, and everyone's getting crazy rich and everyone posting screenshots. Like that's what a top looks like. So that's why I think we still have a couple legs in the tank, maybe 1 or 2.
By the way, Danny and Yuri, were you able to see owner's screen? Because like for me, it was just black.
No, it was black for me.
Okay. So probably permission issues. I have to fix them.
Yeah, I also just looked it up on X, and yeah, it wasn't just mad.
Yeah, I think like in terms of sentiment, we are far from a top. Like this is not topish sentiment at all. Everybody is trying to like do a top calling circle jerk every 3 weeks. Like people have been perma PTSD ever since last cycle. Crypto Twitter has become super toxic. Like everybody wants to play wannabe super defense mode. Oh yeah, I've taken so much profit. I mean, most of these people are like scared to lose their H-1B visas and are sitting on like mid 5-figure stacks. It's like it's laughable by now. So yeah, I think in terms of that, we still have not reflected any of the fundamental improvements, even of the last, let's say, 8 to 10 months in like this hype over appreciation that crypto has usually seen in the past couple of cycles. So yeah, I remain a little bullish. I think it still makes sense to pick up on quality assets. Haven't really changed my opinion on the types of sectors that will outperform. Personally, still mostly exposed to majors, around like 50% of a port, including Hyperliquid. Then bunch of DeFi coins, so like Ethena, Aave, Pendle, very similar syrup to what I've held before. Still like a small position in meme coins, but I'm not that confident into the whole meme coin economy anymore, especially since like the attention that has accumulated around them has sort of been taken away by the streamer coins. So maybe to pivot to that. So we have a resident Pump.Fun streamer.
Full-time Pump.Fun streamer. That's what I should have led off with.
Yeah, insane unemployment arc. So yeah, can you shed the light? Like how is the mood on the Pump.Fun live stream dashboard? Are you in the not safe for work section, or how can people find you there?
Yeah, well, I mean, in general, my approach to crypto has been touch everything new. Like always touch things, always play with them, always all of it, right? Like there's no reason not to go like try new things. And I have this thesis by listening to several like podcasts and different interviews with the Pump.Fun founder, that the pump airdrop's still going to happen, that it's going to be like monstrous. And I think that like streamers are going to get it. I think that streamers and then people trading on Pump Swap and running volume through there are going to get the airdrop. So I've started like 2 or 3 different streams. Like I started a stream where I went paddleboarding in the river for like 4 hours. Yuri, you should start a stream where you run a marathon, just like carry it with you, do the whole thing. And then I have like a DeFi stream similar to this where we just get on and talk about DeFi stuff. But I'm doing is like an airdrop, right? It's an airdrop farm. It's also playing with the app, having money on these apps, getting ready for something interesting that I don't know is going to happen, right? Like maybe Mr. Beast tweets this week and says, hey, I'm going to start my first live stream on Pump.Fun, right? And then you can be one of the first like 15 people to go and like already buy that coin because you're ready. You've already got the wallet set up. So it's sort of like similar to, it's like the inverse of Aster, right? Where I was just like not ready to do something interesting on BNB chain. I just want to like generally know everything about it, understand like the streaming culture a little bit, understand where there'll be good like investment opportunities there.
Yeah, I think on the note of a podcast with the Pump founders, there have been two really good ones. One was on Delphi. I think the other one was on Unchained or one
I
of
like
these ones.
the
These
new
were
one.
really
I like
good.
the new one with Mert as well was really awesome.
Yeah, I think that like these helped a lot to expand the Pump.Fun vision beyond like Elon tweeting, which I think was very necessary in the more, let's say, serious corners of the industry, because like it was overwhelmingly still regarded as this like somewhat annoying meme coin launchpad, and I think it's good that they have evolved beyond that also in their perception. Maybe to talk a little bit about the economics of pump streamings. I mean, I've joined one of your streams around a week ago, which was quite fun. And I mean, the economics of it seems like some people are really making a huge bang of a buck in relation to the effort they put in. Like if you have something that generates a bunch of hype, like these bagwork people or like these people pretending to be lamps or whatever, they've really made a killing. There are some charitable causes on there, like one guy raising for cancer after he got drained. Like it's I would say the quality of content is rather broad. Most of it is on the low quality side of things. So yeah, how did you experience like accruing creator fees? How do the economics of streaming itself feel like right now?
Yeah, I think at the beginning there was a lot of like hype around it. So there was a lot of like trading fees, especially around anyone who was like doing well, maybe like someone with 500 viewers at the time. Anyone doing that was probably making like 5 or 10 grand a day, I would say. And then now I think since we haven't had a runner, right? There hasn't been like this Dogecoin or Whiff, or like there hasn't been like a special moment in like the streaming space or like a coin that just like went absolutely berserk. My theory is Pump has like probably some like really amazing popular streamers that are just sort of like they're talking with and they're going to bring them on board, and right now we're basically just sort of beta testing the Pump platform and like working out all the bugs. I think that they don't want to bring like a top streamer with millions of viewers on and without sort of like battle testing it with, me getting 10 views and Thread Guy getting 300, and sort of like the pump swap volume is still kind of small. But if you think about like the treasury that they have, right? I mean, we're probably $2.5 billion and then maybe almost 700 million in revenue. And they're sharing half that and buying half back now with those revenues. But it's pretty crazy. I think that like they're just getting warmed up, and they have another good indicator for me is watching Coinbase sort of like kind of scramble to do what Pump.Fun is doing, and that's what makes me even more bullish on Pump, because I think like Pump is like the big winner there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, honestly. I agree with everything. And so with streamer coins, I think the one problem I see, other than all the good parts, is the pattern so far has always been initial hype, chart go up, number go up, and then down only. And I'm yet to see an exception. And I think that also correlates with the creator rewards being generated, as in, you probably generate most of the rewards in the first few minutes, hours, days, and then afterwards it's gonna be a little bit like diminishing returns. But imagine like ISO speed,
Right.
with like streaming on Pump. That would be, I would like sell 30% of my port to go into speed token. Like that would be insane.
Yeah, and I think that's the point, right? And so like I see this moment where the Pump team's going to give $300 million to one of these like Joe Rogan, I Show Speed, one of these just sort of like characters, and then that's going to be it. I mean, and it's kind of crazy if they don't do it, right? Like they have the treasury to do it. I just don't think the platform's ready yet. I think they want to like get the platform a lot better before they like take it to showtime. And I think us getting to be there early and like farming the airdrop by like swapping on Pump or even like starting streams is just a huge edge we have because we're in crypto already.
I think Alex Becker, he was the largest person to stream on Pump so far. He tried it around a week ago, and I think it crashed the first time, so he did it again like 2 or 3 days ago. Like that was the first time you kind of had a mass influx of a big crypto collective onto Pump, but it like
No.
still didn't even get a lot of traction.
Even Gainsey crashed a stream with Mitch a couple times before. I remember the first like Gainsey hosting Mitch stream on Gainsey's token, not on Mitch. They had to reschedule it because it crashed, and it was only like 200 viewers. So again, agree they're testing the platform to be able to scale it to thousands of viewers.
They're not going to do that huge push until the platform's ready because like it's not good yet. There's so many bugs.
Yeah, so the big wave is the coming, you would say.
I think so. Like I don't see anything stopping them from doing something insane and amazing.
So I feel like, although I'm bullish on it in general, I feel like that is also how a cycle top could look like. So a cycle top could look like we're slowly grinding up, we're getting the Pump airdrop, and then like Speed or Joe Rogan joins Pump, because the cycle top is going to happen in a span of like 2 weeks. That's how much time you have to like make your move, and then it's going to crash, and then it's going to go down for like 3 years, like 2 years. So in that sense, like as bullish as I am, I'm also much more careful with preserving capital and taking profits and all that stuff. So, but it's super interesting times. Like I wouldn't want to be anywhere else than be in the trenches, be on Pump, look at streams, look at like what's happening, follow Aster. It's amazing.
I think a good like cycle top confluence would be like Joe Rogan joining Pump, coinciding with the Pump airdrop, Hyperliquid Season 2 airdrop, MetaMask airdrop, Ravi airdrop, and like Base airdrop. Like if all of that stuff happens within a couple of weeks and that kind of reignites the entire retail hype around crypto, I think then you should get very cautious. But
yeah,
I mean, looking at
I think
the
base
fact that
tokens,
all of these ones are pretty like complex things to execute, it's very likely that it will just stretch out over a year. So that would be in favor of this sort of extended cycle thesis.
That's not typically how it works, right? So it's just the airdrops that happen in super bullish times tend to be really bullish and go up endlessly. And then the airdrops that happen in terrible market conditions are like flops and duds and do nothing, right? It's just like it depends on when you launch. And so like MetaMask and Coinbase and all these, like they know that, right? Like they want to launch at the exact top with the highest valuation so that it stays up there the longest so that the pullback's not as, deep. But yeah, I definitely could see I could see a base token being the top of the market. That's kind of my signal.
That would be crazy. Like if Base launches this cycle, I would be extremely surprised.
What else would they want to launch?
Why would they start talking about it and teasing it, man? I don't think it's like one of those things where they have said like, no, hell no, we don't need a token. ETH is our token forever, up until 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And so like when you're getting these questions endlessly for years about like a base token, and you're constantly denying it, and then all of a sudden that conversation shifts, I wouldn't think that you would want to deal with those questions as a company if you didn't have
I'll
like
answer.
a solid plan and you weren't like ready.
I'll answer your question. So the time where you can generate the most amount of hype, traction, whatever you want to call it, including on-chain activity, is in anticipation of your token launch. So I do think that there is a strategic time window that you want to leverage when you announce your token. And I don't think that is a month, and I don't think that is 3 months either. I think that is multiple months. At the same time, you can only launch your token once. So my thinking here is they're probably going to have more upside in generating fees and whatever you want to call it, teasing the possibility of a token being very ambiguous because of legal, than dropping it quick, which is why my assumption is it's not going to happen quick. I'm thinking It's going to happen slow. And I mean, cycle-wise, I don't know this cycle, next cycle, where we draw the line. But if I were to make a bet, I would rather put my money on not this cycle.
Well, I mean, it depends on when we think the cycle will conclude. If we top in October or November and then ride straight down for 6 months, but find a quick bottom and then slowly start the grind up again, then yeah, I think we can say it's going to launch next cycle in that sense. If we just continue with the current mix of sentiment and like the slow creep up in price action with like very selective alt outperformance every couple of months or every couple of weeks, depending on what sector you look like, then yeah, it's probably going to launch like within this sector. But I mean, the trade-off that they have to make is that on the one hand, it is a very complex launch, especially in the case of Base. I think for MetaMask and Ravi, it's a little easier, but also like all 5 of these really big anticipated airdrops, MetaMask, Ravi, Base, Hyperliquid Season 2, and Pump, like all of these are incredibly complex. You could even say that Phantom might be like the 6th one in that round. Like these are not as easy to execute as some like DeFi D app where you can just distribute points according to volume generated or whatever. Like you have way more stakeholders with a lot of different types of activities. In the case of Coinbase, you have Coinbase equity holders, which you somehow have to navigate around. So like it is not as easy to execute that. So like they cannot just say, okay, in 2 weeks we see a hype of everything in crypto. Let's just launch our token. Let's just put it out.
No, that's clear.
I think they face a similar dilemma as Berachain did earlier this year. They obviously didn't want to launch into bearish conditions, so they postponed it more and more while the conditions got even worse. And then their stupid chain wasn't even ready. Like,
Well,
Wait.
it wasn't ready. And then it just messed up the entire thing, even though like a few months
That's
before the
not right.
Berachain launch, everybody loved Berachain.
Dude, Berachain launched on Monday after Trump and Melania launched on Friday and Saturday. It was like the exact worst launch hours in the history of crypto. And I think that's what screwed them. Like, do you remember like there wasn't like 100% of the speculative liquidity from the entire industry was just sucked out of the market in 24 hours or less, 12 hours. And then no one even knew what to do. Everyone was shell shocked. No one knew what was going to happen next. It was just like brutal launch. But I agree with you. If they had launched, like in November or something right before that, it would have been amazing.
The circumstances were not in
Okay.
Berachain's favor, but also the expectations were much higher than what the initial ecosystem offered. So like most people were just like disappointed.
I don't think that's true, right? Like you don't see any L1s really launching with like a ton of different apps and products,
Yeah, but everybody expected it for Berachain. That's why $3 billion got locked up in the Boyko campaigns.
I don't want to talk about Berachain, please. Let's move away from Berachain. But like I wanna untangle some of the conversation on Base. So I think it's clear that when Base starts talking about a token, you can assume that there has been months, if not years, of work going into the process already, right? Like they don't just casually start about talking a token publicly as they think about it. Like that's a well thought out initiation point of that conversation. Secondly, the one thing I slightly disagree with is I think Base is the type of token that even if you launch it in the peak bear market, it could actually be the beginning of the next bull market. And the next best example I have is Celestia. Like Celestia launched pretty bear market-esque, and it felt to me like Celestia contributed to the initiation of the recent bull market. So I think Base is big enough to do that, right? And there's benefits and there's disadvantages. Like if you launch in hype mode and peak mode, yes, it's great, but it's inevitably going to go down and you build a community that way. If you launch in the bear market, initial price action will be much worse and volume and everything, but you actually have kind of this chance to build something and then everyone goes up together. So I think it's like trade-offs. I don't know which one is better, but yeah.
You know what it really reminds me of is like Binance launching in 2018 and sort of like going from $2 to $300 while the rest of the market was just absolute dog shit.
Yeah,
So I think that's a great point. Yeah. And maybe Coinbase would love to launch where it's the only thing that's getting any attention at that time. and then
Yeah.
sort of like slowly grind up for years.
Oh my God, this actually reminded me of, like 2018 in the bear market, there were two assets I was watching that went up. One was Maker and the other one was BNB. Like those two assets ripped while
For me, it
everything else was going down.
Cardano. For me, it would be.
The Aster launch reminds me so much of the Cardano. Like you look at like short-term price action, it goes up, 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 down a bit, up, 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 up. But since then, it's been like what, X or something.
Sure.
So
that was 1 or 2 cents, 3 cents maybe, I think was its sort of bottom range that it hung out in before it went straight to $1.
yeah, amazing. No, as much as I missed Aster and I don't want to buy the local top now, I think it's going to do quite well in the long term with CZ behind it. So I think we're going to see that like 10, $20 at some time in the future. So it doesn't really matter if you buy it 57 or what is it now? $2. I mean, it does make a difference, but yeah, there's enough upside, I think. But anyways, yeah, base token. I don't know, man. I would be surprised if it happens this year, but I would be extremely bullish. I would be super bullish.
My guess is Q1, early Q1.
Yeah.
Like in like 4 months.
Actually, to be honest, my money is on that base kicks off the upcoming, the next bull run. Similar to what we have seen with Celestia. It's also larger, like the analogy.
Which is like
I
2
think-
years from now or something.
Exactly, 1.5 years or something. So that because you need like some fuel to kick something off, and I think that would be like would be a pretty bullish catalyst.
I hope that they don't pull another Linea and delay their TGE by 2 years.
Yeah,
We
but
should
they are
do-
fucking base. They can allow it.
Yeah, but I mean, it does hurt you as a chain. It hurt Linea completely. Like there's 0 users left. Chain, you could argue that it is also like one of these symptoms because they were anticipated to launch earlier in like whatever Q5.
Yeah, but the volume was so big, bro.
I must say, I had a meeting with someone building something super bullish on Linea yesterday. I hadn't heard about that in forever. Anyway,
we should make some small bets on the base launch.
Talking of bets, I think, just one last comment on that. I think like most of these US-centric crypto companies like Base or Polymarket, also some of these stablecoin chains, etc. I think one thing that will significantly influence their TGE timing is if we see a market structure bill passed by the US Senate.
well, you know they're all going to launch before Trump is out of office, so we can just put
I mean,
that in. For like
that is 3 years
100%.
out.
Yeah. But I feel like that's like the absolute deadline. Someone has to TGE, especially if they're US centric, before there's a new administration.
I think
Everybody will TGE before that. Like
the midterms are kind of an interesting point in time for that because
Yeah.
I feel like you wouldn't want to leave it for after. I feel like anything we're going to see in terms of action is going to happen before that, which is what, like this time next year or something? Yeah, the next months are going to be super interesting.
Yeah, and I also think like Democrats doing really well in the midterms would be like bearish crypto markets. So that also would be interesting if you saw like sort of this social shift, sort of this like this move away, this rejection of Trump's policies through like a Democrat midterm sweep, which I don't think is going to happen. I'm not really into politics. I don't care. But I think that would just be like bearish crypto markets as like an indicator for what might come in the next presidential election.
I think we had a discussion about that like 4 or 5 weeks ago. It's like, I mean, on the macro side of things, it is very obvious that they try to like pump the economy as much as possible heading into the midterms. Like every presidential candidate would have this incentive. They obviously want to like make the numbers look good, etc. Asset prices at all-time highs, cheap money to borrow. I do not know to what extent they can sustain that after the midterms are over. But yeah, I fully agree that if we see a change in parties in the administration in 2028, this would be insanely bearish crypto. Because like if you look at the US, like the fronts are just like, they just hate each other. They don't care about the content of politics. It's just whatever the other one did, the next one is gonna try to reverse. And yeah, especially if you see somebody from the like AOC or Elizabeth Warren camp running and with a decent chance of winning, I think we should like seriously hedge our bets there. Like if you have assets in the US, like, dude, stock up on guns and ammo, man.
Nah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and to just move on to some other topics, we
No,
have
just
some.
before we Uno wanted to set up a bet. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, right.
No.
No, I mean nothing crazy. I just like just to follow up in a couple of weeks and see like how things went and how some of the assumptions looking back turned out. Nothing crazy. I mean, is there a prediction market for it? That's the easiest. Otherwise, yeah, I was just like shooting shit, honestly.
We'd have to look it up, but yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm sure there's one on
we can
Limitless and everywhere.
communicate the odds right now and just see if there's a prediction market we can spin up.
Yeah.
What do you want to bet on?
The launch of Coinbase token,
Yeah.
base token,
The timing of it?
timing of it. Yeah.
Let's just say like by Q1 2026, did it launch? Yes or no?
So by March 31st?
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I'm
I
in like
just found
100%
one
yes
for
there.
2025. I just see one for 2025.
I'm gonna be a no, but I'm very excited about that bet.
I'm like, on that time frame, I'm rather unopinionated. I would say I'm betting against it launching before the end of the year. I'd be extremely surprised by that. But I think they should be able to pull it off in a 6-month time frame, and then it makes more sense for them to just make it dependent on like market sentiment. So if we see a parabola in October and November and it's like down only from there, they have no incentive to launch it that early in Q1. But if we see the extended cycle playing out, then they do. So I find it hard to make a bet there. So Owner, you said no. Danny, you said yes. Yuri, you also said yes until the end of Q1 next year, right?
No. I said that we will go into a bear market without a base token, and that the base token will then finally kick off the next cycle, like in 2 years
So
from
he's
now.
a no.
Yeah.
I'm a no, yeah.
I'm a hard yes.
I'm a somewhat more leaning no, but it's like a
Well, you got to decide.
50 odds for me. Like it's nothing I would want to bet on a prediction market, but I'll give the chance to the no side of things.
Let's
What
I
are
don't
you
care about-
buying me?
yeah, exactly.
Drugs.
Let's do it like this. Let's schedule another episode with this crew for March 31st next year. And then if you won, we're going to buy you something on stream. I don't care. Whatever you want. And if we won, whatever. Like, it's fine.
All right, amazing. And I'll fly to Germany and buy these two dinner. I don't know where you live, but we'll do the
Same.
same. Oh, you're in Germany as well?
Berlin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy. I lose. I got to fly to Berlin and buy y'all dinner.
Sick. Deal.
Okay. That's
Let's
perfect.
do it.
Nice. Yeah. I think maybe one last topic we should cover is these stablecoin chains coming up. So we have Plasma launching on September 25th, so in 2 days. We also had an announcement between Stable and PayPal that they will team up with like stablecoin integrations and whatever. And when I was looking at Plasma and Stable, it seems like both of them are backed by the Tether crew. And if you look at their website, they're essentially like copy pasting each other. Like they both want to be like this stablecoin infra L1 thing. So I am pretty confused why Tether is involved in stablecoin chains, but maybe you guys know something about it.
Well, because these other projects can have tokens, and maybe Tether doesn't want to have a token.
Yeah, but why have Plasma with XPL and then Stable, which maybe is going to be a little less on the DeFi native and more on the fintech side of things, but why 2 stablecoin chains? It doesn't make any sense. It's just going to fragment liquidity even more.
I don't think that's a big issue. Like I do think that we're gonna see more and more stablecoins, and I think we're gonna need experiences that solve the fragmentation, whether it's a decentralized curve like multi-asset pool or whether it's like a centralized clearinghouse. There's going to be something there. But I feel like it's more betting on a multi-stablecoin asset issuance future. It also can be stuff we don't see, stuff like political reasons of like different teams that are adjacent to Tether or aligned with Tether launching these things. I don't know, like I don't have any insights there, but it doesn't really surprise me, to be honest. I think there's enough room to differentiate, even as a stablecoin chain.
Also, I mean, to me, it just seems like a VC play that like a crypto company is like investing in another crypto company, right? And then they can help prop it up and make funds from it. That's like
Yeah.
very, that's just extremely common in crypto. Like most of these projects, all the founders, all the teams, everybody else, like everyone's investing in everyone else's projects and they hear about something cool and think it's a good project, then they invest, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense from an investment perspective, but I mean, Tether, I think, would have an interest to like focus their native support on one chain. But yeah, let's see how these play out. Plasma seems to launch first in 2 days. There also was like a lot of liquidity farming going on. You could deposit, I think, on Binance via the Binance Earn program. And if I remember correctly, the total volume there was like 500 million or even 1 billion. So like on the like DeFi stablecoin side of things, this is pretty big liquidity event. And yeah, a day ago, I think they also announced the Plasma One thing. I'll just share my screen really quick, which is supposed to be like a crypto neobank. So like they are going to have a card with 4% cash back, lots of countries covered, allegedly 10% and more in yield. So yeah, I think because it is backed by Tether, they can seriously compete with American Express and like the traditional finance credit card providers. They certainly have more distribution vehicles and like just more size than EtherFi with the EtherFi Cash Card. And I mean, EtherFi with the EtherFi Cash Card, that has already been, at least in crypto circles, a super successful and like super cool product. We had Slater, the EtherFi CMO, we had him on a few weeks ago. And like, I like what they are doing a lot. And it seems like Tether is jumping onto that train. And yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting movement to monitor. Also because like, I think 2 months, 3 months ago, when some of these like TradFi integrations and stablecoin chains were announced, there was this question circling around about how much of the value accrual will actually happen towards DeFi and crypto versus what is just going to be TradFi implementing crypto infrastructure and crypto tech in the backend, but all the value accruing to them and not to our industry. And yeah, I find it pretty cool that we now have a crypto native project competing on the TradFi, fintech, and payment integration side. So yeah, seems like we are moving closer day by day to the original visions that crypto had.
Yeah, I mean, even the Coinbase card where you get 5% back in BTC is awesome. Like there's tons of awesome products coming out. Pay is the other one that's been really successful.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah. Like there's like a dozen stablecoin chains. I completely lost track who's backing what.
What's crazy is you're also like, in a lot of cases, you're airdrop farming while you're like using your credit card and earning cash back. It's kind of crazy.
I have one of these credit cards, and just because of convenience, I started buying 90% of like spending 90% of my private expenses with this card. And all of a sudden, like exactly like you said, they announced an airdrop and I didn't expect anything. And I was like, whoa, like I got a few $1,000 for nothing just to like use my credit card. And obviously I spent way more, but yeah, I think it's crazy. I think it's very bullish. I mean, that's how you acquire users early on with incentives like that. And there's no disadvantage in using them.
Yeah. I think like everybody who is in crypto should start using these things just to like, yeah, actually take the last mile of adoption. of this industry a step closer to reality.
Yeah. By the way, Max, Marco is doing some exploration on Plasma. He also knows Paul. I just pinged him to ask if we can get Paul on stream sometime as well.
That would
He's also like building. So remember, you just mentioned Plasma One, this neobank, right? We actually pitched doing something similar early on, apparently, and yeah, I mean, they wanted to do it in house and stuff, but yeah, very exciting. What's your thought on, just to switch topics just a little bit, on Tempo chain?
Is that also that's also a stablecoin chain, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's sorry.
Is that also a stablecoin chain? Like
That's Stripe's.
Oh
chain.
yeah. I mean, if PayPal is competing, or like somewhat competing with Stripe, and is partnering with Stable, it looks like on the kind of fintech front, we will have PayPal with a stable chain, kind of cooperating with Tether. Paradigm, which is one of the like largest crypto VCs, they are also backing Tempo. So it's incubated by Stripe and Paradigm. I think in terms of flows into DeFi and like into crypto native applications, Plasma will likely have a bigger impact than Stable and Tempo, just because Plasma is branding itself more as like, okay, we are a stablecoin focused L1. And it looks like also they have like a bunch of large DeFi protocols lined up for initial partnerships. I think Ifina, Aave, Pendle, all of them are going to launch on there on day one. And it seems like Tempo and Stable are a little more, okay, we will just use crypto infrastructure to make peer-to-peer and like B2B payments that these fintech apps are already providing more efficient. So I think that for the end user, I am not sure how impactful Tempo and Stable will be. I think the biggest impact will likely happen on the interoperability and like composability side of things, that you're just easier able to transact between different applications and maybe also between different currencies. But on the cost aspect, like PayPal transfers, P2P are already free. Like bank transfers, P2P, already free. So if at all the end user is going to see improvements in both a settlement time and in terms of costs for cross-border stuff, and like especially when it comes to FX risks, other than that, like I personally have somewhat lost track of all of these stablecoin chains, even though I would claim that I am pretty involved in like day-to-day developments in the overall crypto and DeFi space. But it seems like many of these chains are just positioning themselves in a very similar manner. The only way they differ is they have like another VC and another fintech company backing them. And since most of them have not launched yet, I think it is way too early to decide like who's going to have the lead and who's going to have an edge over what. Like it's very much up to see how these things will perform. But yeah, in terms of bringing an absolute amount of people on chain, it's insanely bullish. Like it is going to be a huge leap towards achieving an on-chain native payment system and payment infrastructure. Like we should not underestimate that. So overall, very bullish on the fundamental level. Is it going to lead to a lot of like price explosions of crypto native stuff? That is to be seen. Like I'm a little more skeptical on that.
By the way, someone is still sharing their screen, just FYI, in case they don't intend to.
Are you farming it? Can you farm it? Tempo.
I mean, you were able to farm Plasma. I'm
Sure.
not sure it can farm Tempo and Stable.
Okay.
I think Tempo has only been announced so far. You can request access on the website. I think Stable, they also have like a testnet, but that is more for people to build on that thing and like
Yeah. It's for
other
developers.
companies. So
Friends, thank you so much. I have to run to another meeting. I'm a couple minutes late, but this was super fun. Appreciate it.
was a great session. I also have to run.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
See you guys, and thanks for joining, Danny.
Ciao, Danny.
Anytime, mate. Later, guys.
Have a good one.